This is the Doctor, President-elect of the High Council of Time Lords.
I am definitely a madman with a box.
Anyone for jelly, baby?
I'm the Doctor. I'm 904 years old. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Castobrius.
Hey, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And we're at episode 61.
Hey!
Episode 61, and we're going to be doing our review of The Girl Who Died. Which was an interesting one, to say the least.
It's certainly got a lot of reaction, hasn't it? I mean, really, really divisive reaction.
Yeah. I think for the first time this series as well, it's been the first one that's truly sent fans one way or the other.
Which is surprising, actually, given, like, you know, the Davros story and everything else we've had so far. It's quite amazing, actually, the massive divide that this episode's got so far, yeah.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if you guys clocked, but Maisie Williams was in it.
No, was she?
I think so.
I must have blinked.
Yeah, must have missed that one.
Don't blink.
Don't blink. Just wink. See?
Yes, Maisie Williams. Well, we'll get on then. The good thing is I've absolutely no idea at all what you thought of this episode this week. I mean, I don't generally know, but sometimes I get an inkling. But I've no idea what you made of this episode.
Yeah, you too, buddy. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've kept very quiet. I've been zipped the lips this week. I've been very quiet.
Yeah, me too. I haven't really because we don't really jump on Twitter or Facebook that much, do we? And say, "Oh, that was amazing," or "That sucked," because otherwise that would just spoil the review for you guys, wouldn't it?
Well, because we follow each other, we tend to see it, and I do get tweeted, like people will say, especially on the Facebook page, people will say, "Oh, what did you think?" And then I've been like really coy lately because I'm just thinking Gary might just happen to be checking the old Facebook and see it. So yeah, I've been very tight-lipped.
Yeah.
I look forward to hearing your thoughts.
As you, buddy. You been up to anything?
Yeah, I've been doing a bit of filming this week. Filming my Halloween special. That's been fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's been good fun. A bit of dressing up going on. I've been polishing off a few more of the Doom Coalition stories. So I've listened to the first 3 now. Three out of the 4.
Yep.
How far have you got with it?
Disc 2.
The Red Lady.
Yes.
Yeah, I must admit, I thought the first 2 were fantastic. I really enjoyed them. Third one, good. Not as good as the first 2.
Right.
But I'm on to the final part in the first box set yet. I was going to ask you, actually, I haven't received my physical copy of it yet, the actual set. Have you?
I haven't, but I did get an email from them yesterday morning.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, just to say that my discs have been dispatched. So probably early next week, I would say.
Did you get yours direct from Big Finish?
Yes.
Okay, because so did I, but I got a dispatch email well over a week ago, and still nothing. And I know from a couple of our listeners, they've had the same thing, but a couple of them have said they got theirs yesterday, so I'm hoping mine will turn up any day now. But I seem to be waiting on a lot of stuff, actually. I don't know if my postman's a Doctor Who fan, and he's... Because my Doctor Who magazine arrived in a very carefully opened envelope this week, or last week, was it? Last week, sorry. Yeah, it was bizarre because they come in like a clear envelope. And, I thought, if it were just sort of accidentally torn. But, when you sort of very carefully cut along the bottom of an envelope, it was like that. And I was like, has my postman just decided to give this a quick read? Because it was a couple of days late as well. So I don't know what's going on at the minute. I'm not making any accusations, but yeah, some strange stuff. I'm waiting for an awful lot of stuff to turn up as well.
We'll not cast any aspersions at this point.
But if I see him wearing a Doctor Who badge or a bow tie,
you need to drop him.
Or a fez, yeah, it's going to be some questions asked. Yeah,
you're going to dish out a couple of slaps and take them right off him.
Couple of slams. Yeah. But apart from that, bit of Doom Coalition. I did join the nation in watching a bit of Back to the Future last night. I felt it had to be done.
Oh, cool, yes.
For Back to the Future Day. So
Marty,
great Scott. So I watched I watched all of, actually, the second one. which I really enjoyed. That's a long time since I've watched that, and it did take me back. It's probably the weakest of the three, but I still really enjoy it. So I did that. You into the old Back to the Future stuff?
Very much so. Yeah,
You are?
Yeah, I didn't watch. I only watched part 2 last night, and that's because it was on ITV2 or something.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, yeah. So I put that on because I think that's the one. That is the one where he ends up in yesterday's date, wasn't it? The 21st.
Yeah, I'm just laughing because I went and dug the Blu-ray because I got it on Blu-ray, so I went and put the Blu-ray on. But you're telling me I could have just turned it on. It was actually on the TV. I should have known it was on, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, myself and the wife, we said, well, because we've got the Blu-ray box set as well. We said, let's dig that out. We'll have a Back to the Future marathon later.
Yeah.
And the time was just pushing on, and we're like, we're not going to see all these 3, are we? Tonight we'll be asleep. But and then we saw it on ITV, so yeah, it was cool. The only thing is, adverts break the movie up a bit, but.
Yeah, this gives you a chance to go and make a cuppa.
Put the kettle on, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, so Back to the Future Day, there was loads going on as well. There was, it just seemed like the whole world was just tweeting and putting pictures up. It was awesome. I put a picture up and, yeah, love it. Love Back to the Future. I'm really gutted that I missed out. I think earlier on this year at the Royal Albert Hall, they did Back to the Future in concert.
Oh, really?
And that would have been cool. I think they were playing like...
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, the soundtrack to all the movies and stuff. And I think they had like the movies or, clips of the movies playing on a huge screen, like the Doctor Who proms thing where they have like the video and stuff. So that would have been cool. So I'm gutted I missed that, but hopefully they'll do that again.
Yeah, I love it when they do that sort of stuff. I know exactly what you mean. It's really good when they have the clips playing along to the music and stuff. Brilliant. Yeah. I
think they're doing an Indiana Jones one.
Oh, that'd be good.
But that sold out really quickly, so missed that one as well.
So what have you been up to, buddy? I know I saw a fantastic picture of you in a Stormtrooper helmet, saying you'd got your Star Wars tickets. I was like, wow, I love it. Where did you get that?
Right, I have a confession to make.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a proper Stormtrooper helmet. That was just my Photoshop skills.
No.
Yep.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you got me. I'm going to go back and have a look at that now.
Yeah.
I hope I can see a jagged light. I told you I must start wearing my glasses. Yeah. That was superb. I actually thought you'd got like a proper Stormtrooper helmet.
Well, everybody did, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was good. I don't want to bang on too much about Star Wars, but yeah, they released tickets on Monday. And literally it just broke the internet. Essentially every major like cinema website just went down. But I did manage, because I was like frantically refreshing at like 10 to 8 and stuff like that. So I managed to get an opening night ticket and on the Thursday night, and then I'm going to go and watch it in the big 3D IMAX job on the Friday.
Oh, amazing. So,
yeah.
Fantastic. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it, because I'm just buzzing for this film. I really am. I love Star Wars. I can't wait to see it. Yeah, I haven't got my tickets, but yeah, really, really looking forward to that coming out.
Something that did arrive, though, yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Was my ticket for the festival next month.
Oh, right. I saw lots of people putting pictures on Facebook of their tickets. Yeah. That's good.
That ramped up the excitement level a little bit more.
See, I feel a bit disappointed because I opted to print mine, so I didn't get it. So I was seeing all these pictures of, I've had mine just printed on a bit of paper for months. But you also got a souvenir bit with it, didn't you?
Yes.
That's nice. Yeah. Cool. I'm a bit jealous of that, I have to say.
Oh, do you want my one?
No, couldn't possibly, no. But I'll I might photocopy it.
You might photocopy it.
Yeah.
Bloody
that's
hell.
nice. That's a nice little thing to have. I think, little souvenir ticket.
It is quite cool. Yeah. I didn't realise you opted to print it out. I thought everyone just as default just got. Right, because was that an option when you booked it? Then you just print your own or got one sent out.
I'm pretty sure it is, but do you know what? I'm starting to question it now because everybody was saying their tickets were out yesterday. I just said I seem to have got a lot of posts missing at the moment.
Oh, it's that bloody postman, isn't it?
I am actually starting to think. I'm because I have bought a few, convention tickets and stuff recently, and they've mostly been print-out ones. I'm just wondering if I've got it wrong. I better check up on that, hadn't I? Yeah,
what's going to happen? We're going to do some research on your postman, and we're going to find his Twitter feed, and he's going to put pictures on there of him like wearing all of your stuff, and he's saying, I'm on my way to the festival, I got my ticket.
Just finished listening to Doom Coalition, and I'm off to the festival. Yeah, hang on, this is a bit suspicious. Yeah. Oh, God. Well, let's hope that's not the case. Otherwise, there's going to be...
Yeah.
No, I'm sure I've got it printed off upstairs, but I am questioning it now. I'm going to check. Yeah, but I am a little bit gutted not to get the souvenir thing. That's pretty good, pretty thing. But yeah,
Cool. Other than that, yeah, just a bit of Doom Coalition, and that's me.
yeah, it's nice. I'd say, talking to conventions, I must just quickly say thank you to one of our listeners, Adam the Ultimate Whovian. He gave me a bit of a tip off. I think he did the same for you last time, actually. But I managed to get a ticket to the Tom Baker signing in November, thanks to Adam.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I'm very pleased. So I will be going on the 7th and hopefully getting my Regenerations box set signed, because my mission now is to get all of the Doctors to sign it. Now I've got one in there, I seem to feel like I've got to get all the others. So
yeah,
thanks Adam for the tip off and everything. I've now printed. Yeah, I printed off a ticket for that. Peter Davison is doing a convention in Peterborough this weekend as well, and I'm desperate to go, but it's a little bit of a drive. But it's the only one he's doing in the UK that I know of. But I don't really know how to get to Peterborough or anything, so I'm a bit. I'm so tempted.
Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, that convention. Actually, it's not a specific Doctor Who one. I think it's
TV Fest or something.
It's TV and Movie Fest or Spectacular or something like that.
Yeah.
It does look quite cool, though.
There's some good people there. Yeah. There's a couple of Blake 7 people there.
Blake!
Blake! Blake's not there, though. But yeah, it does look good. And if there was just a way I could get there, I'd love to, because Peter would be a good one. I've met him a couple of times, and I'd like to meet him again, because he was in a very grumpy mood last time I met him. And I know that's not typical, because I've met him twice before, and he's always been quite nice and chatty and stuff. But yeah, he really wasn't very happy last time I met him, and the last impression always stays with you. Do you know what I mean? So whenever I think of Peter now, I think, no, he was a bit miserable last time I met him. But to be fair, he was in a stadium that was in the middle of for want of a better word, a storm, in this sort of like gazebo being blown around in Milton Keynes. So I think he'd just had enough that day. Yeah. To be fair to him, because he's normally all right, old Peter. But,
just jump on the train, mate. What's the matter with you?
Well, I have to get to King's Cross, and then, I might do it. I'll see what happens, see what Sunday's like. Yeah.
You won't do anything else at the weekend anyway.
Well, exactly. Yeah. It'll just be roped into doing stuff at home. So, yeah, I might sneak off if I can escape.
Yeah, if you can escape.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Nowhere.
Nowhere. What have you got your Doctor Who box set of you again? Yeah, just put it a bit in a Sainsbury's bag. Yeah, just off to do the weekly shop. I'll see you in about 8 hours.
Yeah, well, you've got an excuse now, because you have to buy bags, and a lot of people are taking their bags with them.
Very good point. Yeah, very good point.
The whole thing's wired. Sorted.
Yeah, that's it. I've been caught out a few times already, actually. I normally take bags with me, but I have had to buy a few bags recently.
Yeah, I know.
It's all good, though.
It's all good. If we've waffled enough.
Yeah, I think it's enough waffle.
I think we should land this baby.
Let's get into the news.
Let's do it. The news. Brought to you by the Big Blue Box podcast.
Lovely.
First up, so this is quite cool. We had the news, didn't we, a few weeks ago, that there would be a new spin-off show called Class.
Yes.
Which is coming next year. Little did we know that there was a potentially really awesome spin-off show from the classic years under our noses, and nobody knew. So what's happened is there's this company called Real Time Pictures, and they've just recently announced a direct-to-DVD release of a spin-off adventure called Downtime, which is based around the character of the Brigadier, Lethbridge Stewart, and it actually stars Nicholas Courtney. Not only Nicholas Courtney, but it also stars Sarah Jane Smith, Elizabeth Sladen, and who was the other lady?
Deborah Watling.
Deborah Watling as well.
Yeah.
And it's all based around. It's kind of like I guess it's like a sequel to that. You know, the Web of Fear and that kind of stuff. I think it's kind of like a sequel, because it's based around like the Great Intelligence and the Snowmen and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's kind of a sequel where they return to. It's basically this university has been set up by Professor Travers. Remember him?
Oh, I do. I liked Professor Travers.
Yeah, he was really cool. So they've set up this this university, and the Brigadier and Sarah Jane, they go off basically to investigate what's going on. And it's kind of like I don't know how I'd describe it. It's not like it's one of those things where it's kind of Torchwoody, I guess. It's kind of Torchwoody, and the Sarah Jane adventures. It's kind of like I'm guessing it's like a mix of her investigating stuff and then the Brigadier, who's very much bringing like the unit side of things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a mix of Torchwood and Sarah Jane Smith adventures, but it's just set in the classic years because it was filmed obviously many years ago.
I was going to say, I was trying to work out when this was filmed because I've heard of this. I've heard of Downtime, but I've never seen it. And it seems to be, I guess, when they announced this as being released, there was quite a good reaction to it. People were like, "Oh, finally!" I think because it only ever came out on VHS. Excuse me. So I think there was quite a sort of bit of excitement, and I've never seen it, so I'm really intrigued by this. And I think because the classic series will have finished. I think it's Monday, isn't it, that the Underwater Menace comes out? So that will be the last of the classic stories released on DVD, unless we find any more. But yeah, so it's quite nice to have something new on the horizon that I hadn't seen and sort of that was tied in with the classic series. And yeah, it's kind of, like you said, a bit of a sequel to Web of Fear and what was the first one? Abominable Snowman, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite nice.
It was made in 1995.
Oh, right, yeah, 90s.
Yeah. So the thing is, the story basically is the Brigadier and Sarah Jane, who are both at this point in time actually part of UNIT, they investigate this thing called the New World University, which is in quote unquote a sinister school run by enemies Victoria Waterfield and Professor Travers, and they've made a gateway to Earth. Which has been made by the Great Intelligence himself, itself. So there's no involvement with the Doctor this time. It's a pure spin-off and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to this. Actually, I'm definitely going to get this.
Yeah, well, so am I. If it actually gets released, because when's it due out?
Yes, it is meant to be out. November 16th of November.
16th of November.
As long as somebody doesn't throw a spanner in the works, because it has been contested, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's a dispute, isn't there?
And this is from Mayor. So the character, the Brigadier, was written by two guys, Mervyn Haseman and Henry Lincoln, way back in the day, back in the 60s. And it was those guys that authorised their usage to be used in the show and stuff. But what's happened is Mervyn Haseman's granddaughter, Hannah Haseman, she has basically said that they've gone ahead and announced a release and done everything, but they haven't consulted her about it because she is claiming that, she owns the rights or the on-screen presence of these characters. She now owns this because it's been passed down to her essentially.
Yeah, she's the executor of the Haseman library estate. Yeah,
literary estate. Yeah,
literary estate. Sorry,
so she's kind of claiming like some sort of like copyright infringement and rights infringement and stuff like that. So it could stop the release or delay the release at least. But Real Time Pictures have basically said we don't think we've done anything wrong. They signed an agreement actually with Mervyn Haseman back in the 90s when this was made, and nobody else has contested, nobody else has said anything. So I think they're just waiting for some kind of legal action from her if she decides to pursue that.
I see.
And then we'll go from there. But at the moment, the 16th of November.
Yeah, well, I hope they manage to resolve the issues. I can see it from both sides. But yeah, I hope it gets resolved because I really would like to see this. Yeah, so it seems to have taken a long time to actually finally get released. So yeah, let's hope they can resolve it and it gets released.
Yeah, indeed. We'll review it as well. If it gets released, we'll do a review of it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Excellent. Okay. In other news, This is great, isn't it? The Beast of remember the Lethbridge Stewart novels? I can't believe it. We're already coming up to the third book in the series, and the third one gets released tomorrow. Well, no, depending when you're listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
It'll be today, won't it? Be this the 23rd. It comes out.
Yes.
The Beast of Fan Rock. And we both really enjoyed the horror of Fan Rock, didn't we? That's a good story.
Yeah, it was a cracking story actually.
Yeah.
Because I think we when we first read that one, because we got a really nice signed edition, didn't we, from Andy Frankham Allen.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of that's like one of the red ones on the shelf, and we have we've been sent a review copy of this, and we'll probably speak about it on a future show. But if you've not read this series yet, if you've not got into it, you should really pick them up, because I don't know about you, mate, but it really dives into the proper character of the Brigadier.
Yeah.
It really explores a lot of his interactions and a lot of stuff about him that you don't see in the TV program, which is a testament really to Mr. Andy, because it must be quite difficult to write a whole series of stories and books based around one character that's not pretty much a supporting character in a TV show.
Yeah.
So he's done a really, really good job, as well as some of the other writers on this that have really explored his character to the fullest. So if you haven't picked him up, you can get him in like Waterstones and Forbidden Planet and all that stuff. Or I think you can order it from Candy Jar Books. We'll stick a link in the show notes. But yeah, so it's based around, they're kind of sequels, aren't they? Or they're based around that time of the Tom Baker story, Horror of Fang Rock.
Well, this is a kind of prequel and sequel all in one, actually, I think, looking at the synopsis for this, yeah.
Right, okay, cool. Yeah, so, I mean, if you've read the other ones, this is a given. You have to get it in a series. But, yeah, what do you reckon on these, mate? I think these are really good.
I was going to say, what I love about it is I think you can tell, like you said about the way it's written, that the people that are writing these books obviously know their stuff. They're not just people that have been brought in because it's Doctor Who and it's a franchise and, I've got a Doctor Who book to write. These people, live and breathe the show, and you can tell. They know they know the characters inside out, which is why they're so well written. I just love everything about them. I love the cover art. They've been cracking stories up to now, so... Yes, it's a given. But also, you were saying about ordering it. If you do pre-order it from Candy Jar Books directly, you do get an additional free short e-story, which is called The Cult of the Grinning Man. And I love that title. I think it's really cool, The Cult of the Grinning Man.
Yeah.
So, that's a nice little incentive. But I think, is that just for pre-order? Let me have a look. Yeah, it does say pre-orders of the book. So...
if you're listening to this now, you've probably
missed it.
You missed it, yeah. But if you have pre-ordered it, let us know what that's like. The Cult of the Grinning Man. It is a very cool title.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
So Beast of Fang Rock. If you're listening to this, you should be able to order it from today.
Yes.
Onwards, which we highly recommend you do.
We do.
Indeedy. So quite light on news this week. That's all we've got.
Yeah.
So I think we should press on with our review, buddy.
Yeah, let's do it.
What are we doing?
Obviously, this week we are doing The Girl Who Died.
Look at you. With your eyes, you're never giving up. Your anger, your kindness. And one day, the memory of that will hurt so much that I won't be able to breathe, and I'll do what I always do. I'll get in my box and I'll run, and I'll run. In case all the pain ever catches up, in every place I go, it will be there.
You did your best. She died. There's nothing you can do.
I can do anything. There's nothing I can't do. Nothing. But I'm not supposed to. Ripples, tidal waves, rules. I'm not supposed to.
What's wrong?
My face. You've thrown me this face. Why this one? Why did I choose this face?
Doctor, what's wrong with your face?
you know why I chose it? It's like I'm trying to tell myself something. I think I know what I'm trying to say.
Just someone. Not the whole town. Just save someone.
Come with me.
I know where I got this face and I know what it's for.
Okay, what's it for?
To remind me. To hold me to the mark. I'm the doctor, and I save people. And if anyone happens to be listening, and you've got any kind of a problem with that, to hell with you!
Been a long time coming, isn't it?
Yes. Rightio, The Girl Who Died.
Jamie Matheson and Stephen Moff co-written.
The Moff gets his dirty little hands on it.
Yeah.
That's a bit OTT.
Well, no, actually, I kind of agree because I've been really such a bigging up Jamie Matheson since Mummy on Express and Flatline. Two of my favourite episodes of the last series, so I've been really, really looking forward to him coming back and writing for Series 9. And yeah, like you said, I didn't realise at the time that the Steve-O had kind of chipped in his 10 penneth worth. So we'll see.
Yeah, so essentially story is it's the Doctor versus some teams up with some Vikings to take on some robots in space.
Pretty much.
That's pretty much that. I can't really go into any more detail on it really. The only extra stuff really is the title character played by, if you didn't know, by Maisie Williams.
She's in Games of Thrones. You
She's
might not
in
know
Game
that.
of Thrones, yeah. Yeah, she's like the unsung title character, I guess. She's she plays a relatively decent part in it. And then towards the end, we find out that the Doctor's treatment for her has resulted in her character taking on a bit of a turn.
Yeah.
Towards the end, but that's essentially it. Really, there's no really big character build-ups. There's no plot twists in this one. There's nothing really to sing about.
There's surprisingly very little plot, is there, in it?
Yeah.
It's quite a light episode. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot in there for a story that has very little storyline. I mean, we've got Vikings. We've got a scary sort of pirate-looking villain and his tin henchman.
Odin.
Odin, yeah. And the tin henchman as well. Again, I've been so looking forward to seeing these on screen since we got pictures of them.
Yeah.
Oh, so long ago now. But, when we first got teaser pictures of these suits, I thought they looked great. I thought they looked really simplistic and classic and just, intriguing. But we'll come on to them a bit later.
Yeah, the Maya.
The Maya. And then we got the Doctor sort of training some Vikings to fight, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, the story this week, story-wise, is really quite thin. It's more a collection of nice little scenes, and then we've got this sort of thing about the Doctor's face, which has been teased about for ages, kind of thrown in at the end about why he's got the same face as what's the character, Gary?
Cecilius.
That's the one. Because obviously Peter Capaldi played that part back in the Tennant era. So Stephen Moffat felt he needed to explain why he looked the same.
Yep.
To be honest, I still don't think that needed explaining because he played Frobisher in Children of Earth as well, which ties in with, Torchwood, Doctor Who. So I just don't think it needed doing. But yeah, so that kind of comes in at the end. And surprise, surprise, the girl who died turned out to be a Shilda, played by Maisie Williams.
Yep. Was it Maisie Williams?
A Shilda.
Yeah, was it Maisie Williams?
Maisie
sure?
Williams, Game of Thrones, yeah.
Okay, yeah, right, cool.
So yeah, she dies, and the Doctor basically has a complete, goes mad. A bit Tennanty, actually, doesn't he? In fact, bit reminiscent of Waters of Mars. He decides he's going to do what the hell he likes.
Yes.
And
breaks the rules.
Breaks the rules, and after seeing his reflection, suddenly remembers why he's got that face, which so then he saves her basically. I'm still not quite sure what was going on there, but we'll come to that later. Let's go back to the start. We start with Clara in a spacesuit with something bizarre. It's just like I don't know. It was like something crawling inside a spacesuit. It was a very strange intro, didn't you think?
Yeah, she's out in space, isn't she? In the classic orange suit.
Yeah, and the Doctor's in the TARDIS. It's all blowing up, and he's like, "I'm going to come and save you. Just hang on." And,
yeah, they're under attack, aren't they? There's like an alien battle fleet that's kind of, they're under fire. And
it's kind of mid-adventure, isn't it? We kind of join them in the middle of adventure. Did that because I have only watched this one twice, to be fair.
Only twice.
Only twice. Well, I normally go back for another watch, but I only watched this one twice. Did that have any relevance on the rest of the story or not? It didn't, did it?
Nope.
No. Okay.
No.
I just was wondering this morning. I thought, oh, maybe it tied in with why the whatever they were, the bad guys in this. I thought maybe it tied in with the Maya being there, but it didn't. It was just a bit of a way to start the episode off in an exciting way, I suppose.
Yeah, we just we catch the Doctor and Clara kind of mid-adventure on the I think it was just to show that they're not boring between episodes.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
They don't just sit around drinking tea until the cameras roll. They do have lives and do stuff.
The only thing I like about that is it used to, in the Matt Smith era, he used to sort of seem to go back every week and pick her up. And that used to annoy me a bit, like showing that she had a separate life. And they kind of sort of started doing that a bit too much. So in a way, I kind of like the fact that we're just straight into it, an adventure, showing that they're just out there doing it rather than Peter Capaldi landing, saying, right, let's go every week, like they sort of started to do a little bit. So in that sense, it was all right. But it didn't really serve any purpose for the rest of the story.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was... So it wasn't a bad opening, really.
No, it was all right. It's nice the way
cool.
that she appeared in the TARDIS and he took the space helmet off and she was already in it. That's quite nicely done.
Yeah, the stamping bit as well, when he kind of stamps on whatever this thing is, and it's like he's squishing a bug under his shoe.
Yeah.
So that's the whole reason why he lands the TARDIS, really. So he can wipe his shoes.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Because he's got like this bug stuff, gunk, that he's stamped on. And that's when we get first introduced to the Vikings, right?
That's right. Actually, you've just reminded me of something. Actually, yeah. So he wants to wipe his shoes, and that sort of intro does lead him into talking about rules and okay to make ripples, not tidal waves. So I suppose you could say it served that purpose.
Yeah,
just about
on that front, yeah, because he's basically he's telling Clara and pretty much the viewer as well about the whole consequences of changing the events in time. He's saying that even the slightest change, little pebbles and ripples, can turn into tidal waves. And it's kind of like a little lesson on, how not to get into paradoxes, I guess, and how not to upset the future or the past or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get Vikings appear on screen with helmets, with horned helmets, which has caused a bit of a furore in fandom because apparently Vikings didn't have horned helmets. The best thing about this scene for me was the fact that they immediately snap the Doctor's sonic shades in half, and I really hoped that would be the last we saw of them. In fact, I was thinking, I see what the Moff's done. He's created this annoying thing just so that when they go, everyone would be like, yes! So I thought, right, I get it. But no, we haven't seen the last of them, sadly. But it was nice to see them snapped in half and diminished so quickly.
I was thinking of the fans at that point. Because I've seen so much negativity about these bloody sonic sunglasses. When that happened, I was like, I immediately thought, wow, everyone's going to be cheering at the TV at that point.
Yeah, I was I just sort of go, oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Viking, what do you think to the Vikings, like the look and stuff? So what's the deal with the horned helmets then? Apparently the Vikings didn't actually have horned helmets.
There's quite a few inaccuracies in this, I think, from what I understand. I don't know a great deal about it. I won't pretend I do, but yeah, apparently they're inaccurate, as are eels being in that particular part of the world. Right. So that makes no sense as well. But I don't know. The Vikings themselves, I would just say were a bit pantomime maybe overall in this. They weren't good or bad, but they're a little bit cliche. Yeah, another word I might use. Yeah,
I was going to say they kind of went for the very classic looking, almost cartoony Viking look, didn't they? It was very, it was a bit cliched, I think.
Cliche.
It did. I think I don't know, maybe it was for the kids. Maybe it was like, they really needed to say, this group of people are definitely Vikings.
Yeah,
So,
just in case you weren't sure. I get you. I mean, the actual main villain, if you like, that pirate guy with the sort of eye, the electronic eye patch or whatever. I mean, he reminded me a bit of the Odin. Yeah, he reminded me a bit of the pirate in the Pirate Planet, but he was very sort of theatrical in his look and everything, wasn't he? It was very quite over the top. I don't know. Overall, Vikings okay. I mean, when we actually sort of get into the village and we meet what were they, like the residents?
Just the villagers.
The villagers.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sort of started off all right, I think, this episode. We got a few nice moments. Like I said, there was the bit... I actually quite liked the bit where the Doctor got his yo-yo out and was doing the silly voice and stuff. I actually thought that was quite a nice little scene. Some people thought it was dreadful. I've seen a few people saying, "Oh God, it's awful." I thought it was quite a nice little scene. Actually, I loved it when he got his yo-yo out and Clara was like, laughing at him and stuff. I thought it worked quite well. And then the big face in the sky with the Odin. Yeah, I don't know. It starts off all right, this episode. I just think as we get into it, you just sort of waiting for the sort of a sort of story which never really comes. It's such a simplistic. Mm-hmm. It kind of all feels set up for the ending. To be honest, it's almost as if they had an idea, and it's just sort of one sort of big build up towards that. The Doctor bringing a character back to life and stuff. It doesn't have much content in there, but there's some nice bits. Let's talk about the Maya themselves.
The Maya, yeah.
As I said, I've been looking forward to these. I don't know about you, just because I like the tin suits, but we did get to see them without their helmets on very, very briefly.
Briefly, yeah. Yeah.
Which kind of annoyed me, because I don't know about you, but I was like, I wanted to see them and I wanted them to do something. And once again, we've got a villain that's really, really underused, I thought. It's hardly in it, and they didn't really do anything.
Yeah. Big disappointment for me, mate, for the Maya. I thought that they were, in a way, it's kind of expected because in the photos that we saw before the series came out, did we only see one of them? They only photographed one of these things, right?
Yeah, I think so to begin with.
If memory serves. So I thought it was like a unique kind of monster.
Right.
And in the episode, it turns out that they're just foot soldiers, because there's quite a few of them, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it kind of diluted their effect a little bit, because I was really looking forward to the mystery of what this monster was about. And would we ever see inside, this armor to see what was in there? And it turned out that they were just lackeys, really, just kind of following orders from Odin. And then when we did finally see them, they didn't really look anything crazy. I mean, I think they tried to go for like the shock kind of scary look, but it wasn't anything that kind of crazy in terms of monster design. And then they were gone.
We didn't really see it, did we? I mean, I thought the editing was I don't know, or the directing maybe, I don't know, but it's a bit like when the eye patch dude started to reveal his face to Clara and Ashilda.
Yes.
And it cut away just as he was revealing his face. Mm-hmm. So I thought, they're building up to a big reveal. But we never actually got to see it, which I just thought was dreadful. It's like, come on. Like, you can't... If you get either show something, even if, I don't know, was it a budget thing? Because even when we saw the Maya without the helmets, it was cut so quickly that the only way you'd actually get to see them is if you freeze-framed it. Mm-hmm. And that really annoyed me, because I think if you're going to build something up by cutting away, the build-up to something, you've got to have a payoff. And it didn't. So I was, overall... I was really disappointed with the use of the Maya and the fact of what little we got to see of them, really, and what little they did.
Yes, it wasn't that. I was quite deflated afterwards, just for the Maya bit. I was like, oh, that's another time where they had a potentially really good, monster design there, and it was just wasted. They just used it as, like I said, they just used that design just to have like a bunch of, infantry soldiers who had no importance at all in the episode. They were just there to beam people up in a Star Trek-y kind of way.
Yeah, and it's happening quite a lot in Doctor Who, actually, that they get these great villains and stuff, and a bit like the Fisher King.
We said that, didn't we?
Yeah, and they don't use them. They don't sort of maximise their potential at all. And that's the other thing. You talk about weak plot. I mean, so that they go and get people the strongest of a group, so that they can extract something from them for
Odin.
For Odin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
It's
pretty weak.
It's weird as well. It's like male hormone. It was like testosterone and
that's right.
something else. It was like, come on, dude. Are you not eating your Weetabix in the morning or what?
That's right, yeah. Just go and get yourself some All Brand. Problem solved.
Go to the gym, get fit. And, so that was kind of weird as well. It was like this guy's just, harvesting people's hormones or men's hormones.
Yeah.
Which was strange because they beam up two girls.
That's true, yeah.
So that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Which
I've
just clocked that myself.
Yeah, I hadn't even realised that until you just said it, actually. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. So, yeah, the Maya, very underused. What did you think? Because the sort of middle half of this episode is kind of is basically the Doctor training, the villagers, and that takes up quite a bit of the episode, and it's kind of played for comical effect, isn't it? Did you find yourself zoning out a bit, or did you think it was funny? What did you think?
I'll be honest, I zoned out, mate. Yeah, I was relatively bored, to be honest, at the middle part of it. And I was confused as well because I would assume that if they're going for the classic Viking look and they want to depict Vikings in a very cliched way, which they obviously did from a visual point of view, they didn't really do that in a character point of view. It turns out that all the Vikings really were kind of wimpy farmers, essentially. They weren't the classic Vikings that you see. I mean, if they're going to go one way with it, if they're going to go down the whole, tried and tested, cliched route of what Vikings are, then go the whole hog with it. Don't just depict them to be classic Vikings and then turn them into, little wimpy farmers who can't even lift a sword properly.
Yeah.
So that whole middle bit where he's training them up to fight and all that stuff, I was just, I kind of zoned out and got a bit bored, and there just didn't seem to be much going on either. It was a bit, I just felt there wasn't anything of consequence in that or anything important happening. It was just a very much right, we've got a beginning, so we've got that cool opening with the Doctor, rescuing Clara, and then we meet the Vikings, and that's all very funny and quirky, and that's all cool. And we've also got a really good ending. Well, we have a ending, but we need something to fill the middle. It was kind of like, what we're going to stick in the middle, because we've got a beginning and end, but we need these characters to actually do something in the meantime. So, as a result of that, I was very much, when's this going to pick up? When are we going to get to? I was just waiting for Odin to come back, basically. I was just waiting for that bit where Odin and the Maya were landing back and we're going to have a big tear-up. That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. That it just was so lacking in content. You've got two really great writers here as well. Two very capable writers in Jamie Mathieson and Stephen Moffat. So it's surprising that it was just so lacking, really. The thing is, there was moments of intrigue. Like, obviously, the Doctor clocks the Maisie Williams character when he first arrives, and you think, he recognises her. What's going on? There's going to be a twist. But I think the fact that twist turned out to be that he saves her after she dies, which is kind of given in the title, really wasn't any twist at all, was it? It just, don't know. It's just, like you said, it was just a bit lackluster. You were just sort of waiting for something like a reveal or a twist or something to happen. So a bit lacking in content, really.
Yeah, and then we had the actual scene where Odin returns with the Maya, and that was at that point. The Doctor had his ass kicked a little bit, and he was kind of down in the dumps, and that was in the boring part of the story where he was just down in the dumps and blah blah blah. And then he realizes that it's not going to be a fight; it's going to be an illusion, a trick, which we then see a little bit more of the Ashilda's character. Yeah. So what did you think to her around this point? We kind of get to see a bit more of who she is and what she's about, and she ultimately wins the kind of mock fight, I guess.
Yeah, I don't as so she wasn't really in it as much as I thought, considering how much the BBC have been sort of promoting her. I mean, I'm assuming next week she's going to be in it a lot more.
Yeah.
As I say, that's why this one kind of felt like a bit of a build-up. But yeah, she was okay in what she did, but she wasn't really in it that much. I mean, in fact, I'm struggling to think of many scenes that she was in, apart from the bit where the Doctor has a nice chat with her sort of towards the end, where she built something. I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah,
he goes to see her, and then, I don't know. She didn't really get a great deal to do. But again, I think this is because next week she's clearly going to be in it a lot more. It was just basically a build-up to the Doctor saving her, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was basically, I think she built like this puppet thing.
That's right, yeah.
That's like one of her talents, I think. You know, she has a knack for building these cool things. And and the Doctor realises that he can use that as a strategy almost, because he knows that these Vikings are just, they're going to get wiped out essentially if they go down the let's go hand to hand combat.
I suppose, yeah, she got that to do. She was a bit feisty in the fact that like Clara had almost sort of managed to send them packing, and then Ashilda says, "Come on, let's fight," and it's like, no. So yeah, she kind of was a bit feisty then, but overall, she didn't get a great deal to do. I mean, she was fine with what she was given, I suppose, but I didn't really feel any. I didn't really feel any sort of warmth or connection towards her particularly. Like when she died. All very sad, but I was thinking, I didn't really get to know the character enough to sort of be like, oh my god, they've killed Ashilda. It wasn't a shock, and maybe that's because of the title of the episode as well. It was all a bit, because you kind of just knew what was coming. I think you kind of thought, right, well, I know what's going to happen now.
Yeah.
And also, actually, that also throws in another big problem I have with this episode is that the Doctor's reaction of her death. Is very out of place. Well, I don't know. He didn't really get to know her that well either, and he's seen people die and been very flippant about it. I'm thinking like in the Dalek episode where he's laughing about somebody being turned to soup, and Clara's telling him off. And I'm thinking about last week when I forgot, was it Webley? No, what was the character's name?
Last week he was happy to see
Ridley.
Oh no,
He was O'Donnell.
He was happy to see her die.
To test his theory.
Yeah.
And yet Ashilda dies and he just flips.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seemed a little bit, don't know, not out of place, but do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, I understand, the Doctor doesn't want to see anyone die, but he's been so sort of flippant about it in the past that I didn't quite get his reaction to go to such an extreme as well, because he almost instantly regrets what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still not sure exactly what does he do. He gets that capsule out of the suit.
Yes, there's like a little medikit thing from the Myers suit, isn't it?
Well, that's very handy.
It's like a computer chippy type electronic thing.
How does he change it without a sonic or anything? Like, what does he do to it to turn it into this life-saving pill? I didn't really sort of get that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's he changes it. He mods it somehow, but I'm not sure exactly how.
But do you know what I mean about him? Just like.
I know what you mean.
What is it about Ashilda that makes him snap? There didn't seem to be any sort of real build-up to it, and I just felt it seemed, for want of a better phrase, it felt a bit forced. It was like, right, the Doctor's got to, snap now, and we're going to bring in the explanation for the face change, and all's going to be well. And then next week, because bearing in mind this is a two-parter, it did feel very much like a self-contained episode. I don't think
it did.
Yeah. When it ended, I kind of thought, don't quite know where we're going next week, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. I think his character's reaction isn't consistent at the moment. So, like we said last week, he wasn't too bothered when people were dying. If it proves his theory about something right, he was happy to sacrifice people. And as you say in this one, it was almost the opposite, where he didn't flip at first, did he? He was really kind of down and upset. And Clara's trying to make him feel better, and that's when he clocks, and then he flips out and attempts to save her. So it is a very almost a complete opposite reaction to what we've seen of him so far.
Yeah.
So that his character's been written very much up and down. There isn't any consistency with that part of his character, which is kind of weird considering that Moffat was on this one.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
you would have thought that he, of all people, would have looked at that in a script and gone, I'm not sure if this is going to work, because last week we had the Doctor reacting to people dying in this way. So within, from the viewer's point of view, within the space of time of just a week, he's now completely different to that sort of thing. So it is a bit weird.
Yeah, because it's kind of been like, I think the way it's been written, it's not that the Doctor's sort of doesn't care, but it's kind of like he's thinking that he sees the bigger picture. So he's kind of like having to say, well, if one person dies, it saves 50. So I've got to look at it like that. So yeah, it felt a bit sledgehammered in. But let's talk about the reason for the face then, because that's kind of the whole crux of this ending, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the Moffat's been teasing this for goodness knows how long that he's going to explain it. So let's talk about that. What do you think about the reason for him looking the way he does?
Right. So this bit. So it's. I completely agree with you, and I think I'm pretty sure we've said this before, that there are some things that just don't need to be explained.
Yeah.
And I think the way the direction that they were going with it was that the reason why he remembers why he chose the face of Cecilius, it's because it reminds him of that he needs to go against the grain sometimes. He needs to break the rules. So I think that's what they were going with, because in the Fires of Pompeii, the Doctor does go against what he thinks initially. He does break the rule, doesn't he? Because he was very much this. When Pompeii erupts and everyone, should have died, his thought process was, this is an important moment fixed in time. I can't interfere with it. These people have to die. I can't do anything about it. And when he goes against that and he saves some people, that's what they were going with. He chose that face as like a mark in his memory to say that, you can break the rules and you can go against it and do this stuff. So I think that's what they were going with. But I just don't feel that we needed to know why, because if it kind of it goes against the whole canon thing within the Doctor Who universe, because if they're going to go down that road and say, right, he chose that face, surely his character within Torchwood, what does that just cancel out Torchwood as being canon? Because that face is very much in Torchwood, which is very much canon and part of Doctor Who. And
if anything, he looks more like the Frobisher character than he is Frobisher, isn't it? It's a long time. Yeah, it looks more like him than he does Cecilia.
Yeah. They're picking and choosing which parts they want to use within the story, which I don't think is right, because like I said, you can't just say, right, that part of it is the reason why, because that's been in Doctor Who before.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you can't ignore Torchwood, because that was written very much as a part of Doctor Who. So
exactly.
I just don't feel that we needed to know why. There's been other characters in Doctor Who have had other actors who have had multiple parts. We don't need to have that explained.
We didn't need to. I mean, Colin Baker, didn't he? He was Maxil and shot the Fifth Doctor, and we didn't need that explained, that he looked like that. I think when Stephen Moffat first started going on about this, he was saying, Russell had an idea, and when he told me what it was, I was like, oh, that's cool. And basically what it was is, in the end of the War Games, when the Time Lords are showing the Second Doctor the faces on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
They're saying, and he's like, oh no, he's too thin, and oh, he's got a big nose and all that. They were sort of saying that he could pick a face, which is kind of where Russell T Davies got the idea, and that's been passed on to Stephen Moffat, and that's kind of what he's used.
Yeah. So
I kind of get that, and I kind of like the reasoning for it. Yeah, it's to remind him, that's why he chose that face. I think that's not bad. But I agree with you. I don't really think we needed it spelled out so explicitly. However, like a lot of people, I did love seeing the flashback. I think I just love that scene, actually, because Donna just being brilliant, and great to see 10 smouldering on screen. What a great shot.
Yeah.
So I did love the scene itself. But yeah, I don't know that we really needed explaining, to be honest.
Yeah, I was about to say it was my favourite scene in the episode.
Yeah,
which is real kind of. I'm at odds with it because I don't feel it needed to be there. From my point of view, I don't feel that we needed to know, and that scene just didn't need to be there. However, it was a beautiful scene, and I loved that opening bit of music to the Capaldi's theme. Yeah, I think it's called. A Good Man.
Yes.
That piece of music, it's really nice. And yeah, and those flashbacks with Tennant, just reminds me of how great Tennant was, just that look.
Come with me.
The whole look and stuff. So anyway, that whole scene, I loved it. It was my favourite bit in the episode. It all came together. Like, Capaldi's performance was amazing. The music was great. The flashbacks were really good. It was great. It just didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
It was weird. So, yeah.
And it's also around that time he mentions the hybrid, isn't it? Which seems to be becoming a running theme. He said something about she's now hybrid, and I've made a terrible mistake, and all that.
Yeah, because that alien tech that repaired her is now within her body, and it's going to keep repairing her forever. So essentially, she's never going to die.
It seems an odd thing to do, though. I mean, even if you're not thinking straight, you've got to sort of realise that what you're doing is making someone immortal, and they, it's not. It does seem a bit of an odd thing to, haphazardly do. I'm not really sure he would have done that, because as I say, he kind of regrets it straight away, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he sort of does it, and then he's thinking, "Oh, what have I done?" and all that sort of thing. But should we talk a bit about Capaldi while we're here?
Yes, Capaldi. I thought that the opening and the ending scenes were very good. But due to the fact that the middle part of it was so boring, he didn't really capture me enough in this one.
See, yeah, I thought he sort of carried the episode, to be honest. I thought I thought he made it enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
In a story that didn't have much story, I felt he was. Yeah, I basically thought Capaldi carried the episode. He seemed to be giving it, trying to inject some life into it. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure about the Doctor speaking baby.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, what did you think? And also, the baby's calling the shots. What's going on?
Yeah, I just don't know that. I mean, I get the concept, but do babies, would they really form that sort of? Because the stuff he was translating seemed very intelligent.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, even if he's translating the baby's crying, I don't know that it would sort of form that sort of intelligent speak. I mean, the baby was almost more intelligent than the villagers in what it was saying. So that didn't really work for me, I have to be honest. I thought the way Capaldi acted it was good. He was really sort of selling it, because he was getting quite emotional, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he made the scene work, but I think if you sort of, think about it for too long, I don't think that really works. Just because of what the baby was saying, it was almost being poetic and stuff, and it's just crying. It's not even forming like babies say words that aren't real. It wasn't doing that. It was actually just crying. So you can't really translate crying into a sort of constructed sentence like the Doctor was doing, even if you're translating it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was translating crying. He wasn't translating baby talk. Because babies go blah blah, babies say things that don't make sense. But yeah, don't know. Didn't really get that.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I read you. Yeah, it was a nice quirky. It was one of those quirky little things that
Yeah, I can go with it. As I say, I think Capaldi sold it. I think he was I wouldn't say working his socks off in this episode, but I think he was certainly trying to inject some fun into it, and he was giving a bit of humour to doing it. We got the reversibility of the neutron flow line chucked in there as well, didn't he? Which he said, "Oh, I'm sure that means something," and that was quite nice.
From the Pertwee.
Pertwee.
Yeah.
What's the other thing we got? 2,000-year-old diary we saw as well, which was a nice little throwback.
Yes.
So there was there were some nice moments in this. I think actually the Doctor and Clara were quite nice in this. Once again, Jenna's back to being, I thought she didn't get a lot to do, but I preferred her characterization this week. There was a nice calmness between her and the Doctor this week. So I liked a lot of the scenes between the two of them. But again, she didn't really get a lot to do.
Yeah. We also had at the very end when he's talking to Clara, and this is after he's saved Ashilda. He says that in a very specific way. He says, "Time will tell. It always does."
Yes,
which was a hark back to Remembrance, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did like that actually, because he's talking about the ripples and all that, and then Time Tell always does. Yeah, I really liked that. So we got a couple of nice little fan moments in there for anyone that could spot them. I did like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought of you immediately. At that point, I thought Adam will be happy with that.
What did you think of the resolution to how they sort of blackmail the pirate with the phone and the Benny Hill theme?
Yeah.
An interesting way to defeat an enemy, but
yeah, it was okay. I was again though. It was one of those times where I wanted not the monster, but the villain, the bad guy, to do a bit more. It was kind of a Fisher King moment. I just wanted Odin to just at least draw his sword or do something, to try and get out of this. He just kind of stumbles back for a little while as the Doctor's talking to him, and then he buggers off. It was it was a bit of a deflated ending for me, really. I really wanted them to, because the Maya had, they had done the off, at this point they were having none of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Odin was there, and he's obviously, his appearance is a hologram, isn't it? The Doctor references that. It's a clever hologram. So I was hoping to see, like we mentioned earlier, I was hoping to see his true self, and have a bit of more of a fight, go down swinging sort of thing. But
definitely, yeah.
He just did the off, really, and I was okay. So
why didn't we see his self? I mean, the Doctor says you have to hide behind a hologram, whatever. What at that point, I was thinking, let's see him then. It kind of did annoy me that I was thinking, well, let's see this guy. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah.
And he just kind of runs away to Benny Hill theme, which was quite funny. But yeah, I agree with you. I wanted to see him do something. Yeah.
And then lastly, we have Ashilda, who is now back to life, who's a bit kind of not with it, should we say? And yeah.
We got a sort of cheesy sort of that ending was weird, wasn't it? Which she just stood there with all the, I don't know, what would you call it? All those visuals going on around her. It's a bit cheesy. I'm not being sorry to be over negative here, but I really, I was kind of like, what's going on? Because that's the thing, actually. That's what I've loved about Series 9. It's these brilliant cliffhangers. And this one felt as limp as a lettuce to me, as in terms of a cliffhanger.
As limp as a lettuce.
Didn't you think? I was waiting for some. I was thinking, hey, up, what's happening? What's going on?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Nothing. Is it? Yeah. What? So there wasn't really it wasn't a brilliant cliffhanger. I didn't think.
I agree with you, mate. It could have been, like you said, it could have been a self-contained episode, this one. And when you have the Next Time trailer at the end, that looked to me like it could just be a future episode featuring that character.
Yeah.
It didn't look like it was anything that was a direct run-on from this one.
No, not at all. No, it did. Just exactly. It felt like the story was over. You get next week, we're getting this, and I'm intrigued by the character. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on. It kind of two things I noticed from the next week's trailer is the Sonic Shades are back, and the second thing is and correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't spot Clara in next week, so I'm thinking Maisie might be taking on like a more prominent role. I'm guessing by the looks of it.
Yes, I would say so, because she does look like she's embraced her immortality now. Yeah, from the look of that trailer, and I think there's quite a few action scenes as well.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued to see where it goes. I mean, the fact she's immortal as well, so she's kind of a Jack Harkness character, isn't she, in a sense? Although Jack is just like a fixed point in time, so not quite the same, but
almost, yeah. But she is. I wonder if she'll stay immortal as well.
Yeah. I just don't know what. Yeah, it seems like one of those things. Like, where are they going with it? Like, what are they going to do with that character. I don't know. Thing is, I don't think she's going to become the companion, but I know there's been rumours, but she's not really she's not likeable enough to be the companion.
No.
In that sense. So, yeah, but I don't think so. I think she's too busy filming something called Game of Thrones. Anyway, right. So, yeah, I mean, pretty much that's all I've really got to say about the episode. I don't know about you. There wasn't a great deal to sort of content for me in this one.
Yeah, it was a very simplistic episode, and while there were some nice little scenes here and there, yeah. Let's get on to our scores, dude.
Yeah, I was going to say, have we covered it? Is there anything else you'd made notes on?
I don't think so.
I wrote eels in great big letters.
Oh, the eels, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
wasn't there? Didn't you say there was an issue with those as well? They weren't
supposed to be in that part of the country or something. But yeah, I mean,
right.
They were kind of just used to really sort of tie up the episode, weren't they, and defeat the monster.
The Myers, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, one other quick thing. How was Ashilda projecting, using the helmet to project those, like the dragon and all that? Because she kind of just puts it on and seems to be able to use it. That's the other thing I didn't quite get. How was she actually using that helmet?
I think the doctor does something to one of the Myers helmets.
Right.
So her mental story, it's projected. It's projected so that the other Myers and Odin can see it.
Yeah, I see.
I think.
I'll go with that. That's good enough. Yeah, because that was the other thing I was just a bit unsure about, really. I think there was quite a few bits in this episode where you just kind of, if you think too much hard about them, you just kind of have to go with it, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, okay. Well, overall, I think it's your turn to go first this week.
Yeah. I did struggle with the review for this one a little bit. Because when I watched it the first time, I was like, "Oh, that's not great for me." And then after I watched it the second time, I thought, "This is really weird," because my point of view hasn't changed on it at all, and usually it does after a second or third viewing. And then after I watched it the third time, I thought, "Yeah, my score still hasn't changed on this one." So I'm going to give this a 4.5.
Oh my goodness me, that is low. That is low. I liked it slightly more.
Okay.
I have focused quite a lot on the negatives of the story, but I did think it was an easy watch. I wouldn't say it's a bit of fluff. It's got more to it than that. An easy watch. I've gone for 6.5 out of 10. I might be being a bit generous, but I didn't hate it. I mean, I didn't get to the end and think, "Oh, that was dreadful." I liked the humour in it and stuff, and I thought there was enough. I thought there was enough nice scenes. I didn't think it was really, really bad. But yeah. So I'll 6.5. That's what I'll go with.
6.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the reason why I think my score is kind of relative to some of the other stories that have got that similar nonsense about it. The Curse of the Black Spot.
See, I like it better than that.
I gave that a 4. So slightly better.
Just want to check, actually, what did I give in The Forest of the Night? Because nothing has yet come close to being as bad as that for me.
Forest of the Night. Yeah, I gave that a 4.5 again.
Yeah.
And you gave that 5.5.
Okay, now that's fine. That's kind of about right then. Yeah. Because I could happily sit and watch this. It's not going to be one that I'm going to sort of put on that often when I get the box set, but yeah, I could quite certainly happen watch it, no problem. But just not enough content.
Yeah. What did we give Robot of Sherwood?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Because that was
Robots of Sherwood.
Because that to me had a similar vibe. Like the opening was very similar, and they just encounter these cliched kind of people.
I think that's one we missed.
Did we miss that one?
Well, yeah, because there was like, I think I jumped on board the podcast as co-host around about Time Heist. Actually, I think I did Deep Breath with you, But I think then there was a couple of weeks where you were doing it on your own, but you missed a couple of episodes, and then I joined as co-host. So I have a feeling we missed Forrester Sherwood, sadly.
Right, okay. Because I have a feeling I would have reviewed that around a 4 as well. That kind of score. Yeah, so 4.5 and 6.5. Okay. Let's get on to some reviews. We got an audio one first. This is our buddy Alex Kingdom.
Hello, Gary and Adam from the Big Blue Box podcast. This is my review of The Girl Who Died. This episode really split the fandom, and I can see why. Now, to be honest, this episode is definitely my least favourite of the series, but it doesn't mean it's bad. Again, Series 9 it's not flawless, but it's still been decent. It's sort of like Series 8, but at this point in Series 8, we would have had Into the Dalek and Time Heist. That could have been a little bit not to everyone's liking, but we haven't had that in this series. Now, the Doctor was really good. I think he was sort of like the viewer in this episode, because a lot of people didn't want there to be Vikings and Who, and when it happened, when we were with Capaldi the entire way, this is definitely Clara's best episode, with Thiessen, for me, knows how to write Clara, probably the best I've seen so far of the character, because in Flatline she was really good. Mummy on the Orient Express, she took a back seat, but when she's there, with Matheson's writing, she is there. Maisie Williams' character is good. That's it. I don't think that people are hyping up about Maisie Williams' character. There's no point to it. She was good, and that's all. The villains are a little bit, a bit underused, a bit stupid. The post boxes look fantastic, and the Maya, that guy who, he was so Panto-esque, didn't like him very much. The Doctor's face thing I really liked. If I had, the one thing that I'm happy about is that line, I'm the Doctor and I save people, because when I heard that in the Next Time trailer, I thought the guy was going to be like, who are you? And he'd be like, I'm the Doctor and I save people. But no, they didn't go down the cheesy route. Well done. Alright, and I give this episode 7 out of 10. Keep going up with the podcast, guys. You're doing great. Really enjoying what you're doing. Bye.
Thanks, Alex. Cheers, buddy. I got a lot. Did he say the post box?
The post box guys.
That's
yeah,
brilliant. He's talking about the Maya in their suits.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it, because I'm looking at a picture of him now and I see what he means. Right, I'm going to call him that from now on.
The post boxes. Yeah. Cheers, Alex. I agree with a lot of what you said there, mate.
Yeah.
Over on Facebook, the Paladin of Gallifrey.
Oh.
He says, "What can I say? Story that many didn't care for, but are possibly overlooking the reason why they didn't like it in the first place. You may say that it's a story, but you'd be wrong. It's actually the direction that fails to deliver." Ed Bazalgette has built a stilted world with a lack of movement, imagination, or flow. Let's look back to the heady days of Under the Lake. We were running through corridors with amazing camera pans, jumping through closing doors to narrowly escape a watery death, and yet here, with The Girl Who Died, we have scenes where Peter Capaldi is asked to simply pace up and down in small contained spaces to deliver the cleverly written dialogue. What translates is a stilted and uneven show. I'm sure I might feel a bit better about things after a second rewatch, but right now, 6 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, he makes a good point there. I think the direction and also the editing, like the whole bit about not seeing the monsters and the reveal of the villain's face only being seen for like a split second. Yeah, the editing and the direction were a bit flat, definitely.
It was flat, wasn't it? Especially the middle part. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Louise, Loopyland.
Hello, Louise.
Well, I enjoyed it. It was a bit silly and not as good as the last 2 weeks, but still enjoyable. Big cheer for breaking the sonic glasses already.
Yay.
Yay. Hopefully we can have the sonic screwdriver back now. Keen to learn more about Ashilda, 6 out of 10. Martin, Mr. Bad Will Favell. Dire, absolutely dire. But I suppose after 4 strongish episodes, a clunker was inevitable. This is the first episode that I haven't rewatched on the iPlayer. As soon as the kids have gone to bed, I'm not sure I will rewatch it at all. The aliens were straight out of Sarah Jane Adventures, only without the decent scripts to counter their poor design. Time for Stephen to moth off.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are slowly agreeing with you there, buddy. Thomas Andrew Evans. I enjoyed it, but I did notice that this episode split the fandom as there were a lot of mixed reactions. I thought yet again Capaldi was superb, and I loved the explanation of why he has that face. The only thing that was personally to me, it doesn't feel like a two-parter, whereas the others have. But otherwise, 8 out of 10.
Thanks, Thomas.
Cool. And Joe Sweeney, it was watchable, but not a solid episode. Maisie Williams, great actress, but find her character hard to understand. I was happy that the Sonic sunglasses got snapped in half, but my excitement got short-lived when I saw them back in next week's trailer.
Yeah.
Damn you, Moffat, in brackets. Odin and Maya weren't amazing. They looked good. The only problem is they were too easily defeated. Peter's performance was good, but not at his best. Coleman's acting has improved since after the last 2 episodes. I didn't care about the co-cast, and I found them underwhelming. Cliffhanger was okay. Nothing to shout about. 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that.
Yeah. Let's do another audio one. This is our buddy from Who Alex Reviews. This is Matt.
Oh, the biggest anticlimax ever. This episode was hyped so much, it had so many components to make a solid episode, and every single one of them fell incredibly flat. First of all, 12 was a little bit inconsistent in this. He had some great scenes with Clara, which foreshadowed her demise once again, but I just don't get his character. He goes from one week being very brutal and harsh, letting O'Donnell bite the bullet, and then the following week he's playing with a yo-yo and desperately trying to revive a girl he's only just met. I just don't feel like there's enough communication between the writers. I mean, it's like they all write 12 extremely different, and they've not all sat in a room and actually discussed what he should be written like, because every week we're getting a completely different 12, and it felt as if you could tell the difference between a Jimmy Matheson scene and a Stephen Moffat scene, which worries me a little bit, because 12's in his second series, so I think he should be a little bit more consistent by now. Clara was okay. I think she had some good scenes, and she's probably the most solid thing about this episode. The Vikings were underused beyond belief. They were in the frickin' synopsis, and they were in it for a total of 2 minutes, and the Maya were even worse. I mean, they didn't look like a good villain to begin with. I wasn't that bothered about the leader, but I was really looking forward to their robot henchmen, and they were in it even less. And to top it off, the way that they were defeated by a child telling a story or electric eels, which were very convenient, just was lazy and didn't make sense. They were utterly wasted too. And then there was a Shielder, who was the biggest anticlimax of them all. I mean, she had a few good scenes with 12, but we knew she was going to die. The title gave it away, so her death did absolutely nothing for me. It was so predictable. We all saw it coming, and her revival was just as predictable too. I mean, did the writers think we're stupid? Did they think, oh, they're not going to guess that she dies and she lives? Not that the title gives it away or anything. It was just so predictable. It did nothing for me whatsoever. It was interesting to see where 12 got his face from. That worked. But other than that, every part of this episode fell so flat, and it was a complete letdown. So yeah, the only thing I'm looking forward to is seeing where a Shielder is in 500 years' time. Other than that, there was no content in this episode whatsoever, so I'm giving it a 4 out of 10.
Oh dear.
Oh dear me. Do you know, I've got to agree with what Matt says about the inconsistency with the Doctor and Clara's character.
Yep.
He makes a really good point there, because if you think about like the 7th Doctor or the 4th Doctor, you can instantly think of their, you know, what their doctors are. The 12th Doctor's character is, I mean, how would you describe him? It is different all the time. And Clara as well. I mean, there was a line, I've said this about Clara a lot, I know. Her character's all over the place. They're even starting to make they throw in the odd line about her being bisexual, I noticed. She was like, I'll fight you for her. And she said something in Magician's Apprentice as well. So they sort of keep throwing in these inconsistencies, and I've got to agree with Matt. They kind of need to get a grip on that. This is the second series with Peter Capaldi, with Jenna Coleman. They should have sort of clamped down on this by now and got a bit more bit more characterization with them both, because they do seem to be different every week.
Yeah,
to suit the story.
Yeah, I thought when I listened to Matt's review, I completely agree. It's like you say, with even with the newer Doctors, like if you were to watch a Tennant episode or Eccleston, or even possibly Matt Smith, but definitely the Russell T Davies Doctors and all the classic stuff, you could put on any episode from their era, and you'd pretty much have a solid guess of how they would react to certain things. You know, their characters were written very consistently, whereas this series, well, this Doctor, in fact, is very, very up and down. Maybe the yo-yo was a metaphor.
Maybe, yeah.
You know? But yeah, nice one, Matt. That was a good review, and I think we all agree with that one.
Yeah.
Back to Facebook, Sammy Satine. He put, I liked it. I like Ashilda and her puppets. I like the fact the Vikings weren't fighters, instead they were fishermen and blacksmiths, etc. Defeating the Maya with imagination and eels was different and good. The Maya themselves were underused and not as threatening as they could have been. I like the scene that explained where his face came from, especially seeing Ten and Donna again. The glasses got snapped, but I suspect they will return next week. Does Ashilda's immortality make her like Captain Jack Harkness? I mean, they both can't. I mean, in a sense that they both can't die. Clara was good. I missed the rock and roll theme tune. Bring it back. Looking forward to next week.
Cheers, Sammy.
Cheers, mate. George Coppen, really liked it, better than I expected. Very funny. I have a feeling the Doctor recognised Ashilda, but we have to wait and see until next week. 7 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Ryan Anthony. Well, judging by the trailers, I thought I wasn't going to like this episode. And unlike the previous 4 episodes, I really lacked anticipation. As the episode progressed, I found that not only I was enjoying it, I also admired how it was unlike any episode we have seen before. The Vikings weren't warriors, they were vulnerable farmers, and the fact that the Maya were defeated by imagination was a great new idea. Eels were also good, and like I said, it was a different to what we had seen in the past. Finally got an explanation behind Capaldi's face, which he loved. Capaldi, Coleman and Williams acted amazingly. Overall, this episode was decent with lots of refreshing content. I actually thought the humour worked well and the acting was brilliant. Despite this, I find it the weakest one yet of Series 9, but still a 7.5.
Oh, okay.
Lewis Palmer. I thought it was good. Not amazing. I didn't love it, but it's not like there was anything to get angry about like I did last week. I loved the face explanation and how it wasn't really made as a huge finale type reveal. It created quite an interesting story arc that will continue next week. So yeah, perfectly fine. And then he replied to his own comment and said, oh, by the way, Maisie Williams is in this.
Really?
Maisie Williams is in it. Just in case the official Twitter account didn't already tell you a million times.
Yeah.
Cousins 2019.
Hello, Cousins.
It was an okay episode. It was just too overhyped and marketed wrong. I think you can tell when Moffat is writing with Jamie Matheson with lines like, you go off and make babies. I think when the Doctor remembered where he got his face could have been a lot better. Maisie was okay, but was too hyped, and bringing her back to life is just a reused plot with other characters. The first bad episode of the series. Don't get me wrong, I liked it, but 4 out of 10.
Fair play, yeah.
And he replied as well and said, oh, and the Maya didn't really do much.
Yeah.
Jackson Castillo. Personally, the best episode of the series. I think it's a breath of fresh air having a single episode. As much as I do like the 2-parters, I think this episode was really funny. See, that's an interesting bit in his comment there, because Jackson was under the impression that it was a single-parter.
Yeah, well, it did feel like it, but yeah, it's not.
Yeah. He said Maisie Williams was really good. Loved the end sequence and how the Doctor's face wasn't made into an arc, but perfectly addressed here. Right now, it's a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
If you ask at the end of the series, it will be at least a strong 9.
Okay.
Cool. And lastly on Facebook, Jeff Waddle.
Oh, Jeff.
Yeah, he says boring. About fell asleep. And then he replied as well and said 1 out of 10, and that's a 1 for Capaldi. The other actors were as wooden as a stack of crates.
Jeff really isn't digging Series 9.
You're not a fan, Jeff, are you? No. And we've got one last audio review. This is from our good friend, Mr. J. Kent.
Ah, great.
Hi, Gary and Adam, it's me, Jay, here to give my thoughts on the game Who Thrones. I mean, the girl who died. Now, I'm going to be totally honest, I found it really disappointing. If it weren't for the last 10 minutes, I would have come out hating it, I imagine. But I'll start with some good points, because I like to be optimistic about these things. No, but the explaining of the Doctor's face at the end with the flashbacks to Ten, and Donna, and Caecilius, and Fires Pompeii, I thought that was really good, because I thought when it eventually came down to explaining why the Doctor had this face, I was thinking, oh no, some DNA has been left over on the Tardis residue, and that got mixed in with the Aptron energy, and now that regenerative process had that mixed in. But it's really good, it's really simple, it's just a reminder, I'm the Doctor, this is what I do, I saved him, and this is to remind me in case I'm doubting myself. I thought that was really, really well done. You also had the Doctor doubting immortality, which might mixed in with the whole death thing that's going on. Whether he's right doing what he does, or whether he should just let people die, no matter how much it ruins him. I just love that little conflict with himself. That was lovely, I think. And thankfully, the Sonic sunglasses were dead, so the Doctor didn't have any technological just buzz and you're done resolution. It's really witty, uses strategic, and I found that great about the episode. He actually had to use his wits for once, which I don't think he's done for a while, so I'm really glad about that. Now, bad points. Where do I begin? It was really slow. It was basically just an extended training montage for the overall episode. You could put Mulan's I'll Make a Man Out of You, and you've come out with the same effect as the actual music video for the song. I like the idea of these farmers, like, training up to be warriors or whatever, but if they're fighting this supreme warrior race, there must be more warrior races than I've had hot dinners now, they were just awful. They were just bog standard, didn't see anything impressive or different about them. And Maisie Williams, overhyped too much, didn't see anything interesting about her character. The only reason I'm glad she's resurrected is so her character has a chance to improve next time. Seriously hoping the second part, improves the episode, but one thing I do want to say is, R.I.P. Sonic sunglasses, rest in hell, you binch!
Cheers, Jay. I've got some bad news for him. They're already in the next time trailer, so they are back next week.
Yeah, sorry, Jay.
Oh,
you're going to be disappointed, buddy.
Thanks for that. That's funny.
Yeah, thank you for all your reviews on the official page. Did you have anything over on the Geeks Handbag?
Oh, yes, I had a couple. Let's have a look. Right, so Ben Smith hated it. Talk about a dip in quality. The robots looked clunky and were rubbish. The villain was so over the top. After all the hype, Maisie Williams' character was weak. The Vikings were dreadful and they never had horns on their heads. The entire plot was absolutely awful and was far too silly. The explanation for the Doctor's face was underwhelming, and even Capaldi wasn't very good. To think Matheson has made this pile of garbage after two sensational eps last year. It severely failed in every aspect and never grabbed my attention. One of the worst Doctor Who stories ever. I'm giving it 1 out of 10, he says, and that's being generous.
Oh, Ben.
Oh, Ben, and that's got 2 thumbs up, that.
Yeah.
Right. Helen Jones.
Hi, Helen.
Hello, Helen. Glad she liked Dimensions thing. We'll come on to that in a minute. She said, I had a bad feeling about this one before it aired.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. She says, after all the fuss about Maisie Williams being in it, it felt to me like they'd plucked Arya Stark straight out of Game of Thrones and dropped it into Doctor Who episode with some comedy Vikings. The story was a bit silly, and the solution the Doctor came up with, namely the eels, was just daft. On the plus side, we did see a temporary end to the Sonic specs, and we got a sort of explanation for the Doctor's appearance now. Personally, I never really felt an explanation was required, same as us, Helen. I always just assumed Time Lord's ladies could choose who they regenerated to look like after the way Mary Tam regenerated into Lala Ward. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Good point, Helen. But the explanation given was as good as any other, so that's fair enough. I'm going to put this episode down as a bit of a light relief and the more intense stories we've had this series. Hoping the second part will be better than the first. Helen's giving it 7 out of 10. Okay. Liv Bailey, too many problems, too much Maisie Williams. Enjoys some of it. The highlight was seeing David. Yeah, I think a lot of people like seeing David back.
Yep.
Stephen Hardy, I like this one. He says, horned helmets, enough said. Okay, thanks, Stephen. Got a couple more. Got Ryan Williams says it was definitely my least favourite episode of the series, maybe ever. The only part I really enjoyed was when the Doctor realised who his face was from and the hint at the hybrids. Apart from that, the episode was so overhyped it was unreal. Maisie didn't do anything remotely interesting or intriguing. Next week's episode is going to be a mixed opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right, okay.
Yep.
And finally, Andrew Maul says, I am really loving this new series. I think it's such a massive improvement from last year. I really hope that if Maisie Williams is going to be a new companion, we have a version from history and not a modern day version. I don't think she is, but you never know with Doctor Who, do you?
You never know. Yeah.
Never know. So, yeah, quite a mixed bag this week.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's normally it's mixed and you have some people down the middle, but on this one it was you liked it. It was kind of a Marmite one, I guess.
It wasn't. I mean, the thing is, though, as I said, even though I think there was a lot of faults of it, it's not like it's an episode I could happily watch. I would like, for example, in the Forest of the Night. That is a dreadful episode, in my opinion. You know, I've never gone back and rewatched that. I mean, I probably should. You know, I very much doubt my opinion would change. But this is not an episode I got to the end of and thought, oh, that was dreadful. I really just thought it was like, yeah, just a bit, to quote you, Gary, a bit meh.
Bit meh.
You know? Yeah, a bit meh. It wasn't dreadful, I didn't think.
Well, we had a few people, we had a 10 out of 10.
We had a 10 out of 10? Yeah, I think so.
Some 7s and a 10, and then we had 1s and, and a maximum of 4 on the lower end. So there wasn't many 5s and 6s, really. It was like 7 or above or a 1.
Yeah, I think that's it, actually, because the episodes in Series 9 have been diversive in the sense that they've either been, like you said, there's been things that they've picked up on, whereas this has just been, like you said, so Marmite. It's been either 1s or 2s or really, really enjoyed it. So there's not much middle ground, actually, apart from me. But not much middle ground on this one. A lot of people either loved it or really, really disliked it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Helen Jones. She was at a convention recently.
Yes, she was. She went to Dimensions.
Where was that? In Slough, was it? Or was it up north?
Newcastle, I believe. Yes. I'm guessing. I could be wrong. Yeah, she was. She sounds like she had a great time. She left a comment on our Facebook page, didn't she, saying about it?
Yes, about our trivia question.
Yes, that's right, because she got it right, didn't she?
She did, indeed, which we'll come on to in a second.
Yeah.
So I had a great time there, Helen. We were thinking about going to Dimensions, or I was at least. I don't know why I didn't go. Why didn't I go? Must have been busy.
Busy bee.
Yeah, looked like a good one, though. So thank you very much, guys, for sending in your comments, thoughts, audio clips, whatever. Please keep them coming. It's literally the best part of the show for us, hearing your thoughts and reading them out. And it's almost like we're having a conversation with you guys.
Yeah, we love it.
Almost. Yeah, which is really cool. And I think we will wrap there, buddy.
Let's do it.
Thank you very much for joining us for episode 61. And you guys kind of agreed with our review and scores on The Girl Who Died. But a lot of you hating it. A lot of haters out there at the moment. So, yeah, I think Mr. Moff, I think you need to start pulling your socks up, buddy. Getting some consistency going.
I know we had Matthew from Who Addicts audio review there, but James from Who Addicts did a hilarious, well, not intentionally hilarious, but an immediate reaction after the episode. He was going mad.
Yeah, I saw.
I don't know if I don't know if it's still on their Facebook page, but he really tore into it.
Yeah, it was cool. So once again, thank you very much. Let's move on to trivia. So last week we asked you, what football team does Ace support? And the answer is, of course, Charlton Athletic.
Of course.
A couple of winners on this one. Alex Kingdom, well done to you, buddy, on Facebook, and Helen Jones on Facebook. And she had a bit of help, didn't she?
She had a little bit of help from Sophie Aldred herself, apparently, because Sophie Aldred was at the Dimensions convention that Helen went to. So she did say she mentioned it, apparently, while on stage or something. So,
yeah.
But we still count that as getting it right, Helen.
Yeah, you had some help, but seeing as you had some help from Ace, it's all good.
Helen also said that she chatted to Daphne. I'm saying it now.
Here we go.
Daphne Ashbrook
Yeah.
at the convention and about the podcast. So that's really cool. Apparently, Daphne was really nice when Helen met her. So nice to know that they were chatting about the podcast.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah.
Okay, this week's question for you guys. What hobby does Wilf engage in when he goes up the hill? In quote marks. What hobby does Wilf engage in when he goes up the hill? Send your answers over to us on Facebook or Twitter, and we'll read the correct ones out next week. Until then, head over to the website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. From there, you can listen to all the back episodes, and there's also links to subscribe in iTunes, and RSS, or if you want to follow us and like us on Facebook and Twitter, you can do that from there as well. We'd love to have you guys on board. It's always cool chatting to you guys and reading your stuff out, so make sure you do that. Also, check out Adam's channel on YouTube and Facebook, The Geek's Handbag.
Yeah, Halloween special on its way. It's
some really cool videos that Adam does over on that channel. Really cool.
Thanks.
On-the-spot reviews, unboxings, product reviews, thoughts, location shoots, the whole shebang.
Yeah, I must get to a new location next year, I think. Need to do another location visit.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Anyways, until next week, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember,
Alonzi!